Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And today we will be covering the tournament, Dr. Chess League tournament, which is taking place in Jaipur and is being organized by Mr. Lalit Bharadia. And we will be following the games of board one, table one of each round, and we will be analyzing the games and see how the players play and how the games proceed. So as you can see, there's the screen where the board is covered by the camera. This is one of a kind initiative taken by the Doctors Chess League for the first time in Rajasthan. We can see the boards. We'll be having a commentary on a virtual board as well, so that it's easy for you to follow. And on first board, we have Mr. Ehshan Rijwani versus Anshul Potadia from Kala Hospital, and Ehshan Rijwani is from ALCS. A little more about the players is that Ihsan Rijwani is currently a first year MBBS student at Mahatma Gandhi Medical College. He has competed on national level two times from the school and loved the game, just like we all do. And Anshul Potadia is another very strong player who is representing Kalla Hospital. And please pardon me if I do any of the pronunciations wrong, because some of the players are and their names are new to me, and the games are still to begin. And as we can see, it's of a very good quality. The board we can see very clearly. So Ishan Rijwani is playing with the white pieces, and the black pieces is with Anshul Potadia, and they both are the captains as well of the team. Sorry, captain is Arun Patani from ALCS, but these both players are premier, and I think the premier is a unique rule in this event where they have selected some very strong players and have distributed them equally amongst the team so that all the teams can have good players, and so these premier players are distributed evenly amongst all the teams. And we can see even one of our young talent from Rajasthan, Yash Barade, is also a premier in Somani Hospital. Arpit Gupta is there, Pankaj Singh, Anis Ahmed, Varun Chabra, Anuj Rajvanshi, and many more such strong players who we also see in local tournaments. The matches are still to start. Mr. Amit Gupta says wow on YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Amit Gupta. Okay, I don't know how many of you are watching, but if you are, can we guess the first move from white? Let's see if anyone is watching. I think more people will join us along the way. Also, if you look at the board pairing, on the second board, Mr. Devrat Singh is playing against Mr. Sanjay Sogani. DK Sharma is playing against Mr. Amit Agarwal. Mr. Arun Patani, also the captain, is playing against Lakshman Agarwal, Mr. Lakshman Agarwal. And Mr. Palash Jain is playing against Mr. Jaya Devendra. And these will be very exciting matches, although these all are uh, just the doctors, but they share this immense love for the game, and they're here to promote the game and show some good games. And it's a delight to watch them on this occasion. So the games are about to start, I think. Mm. I guess it'll be a e4 game, the king's pawn game. Let's see how my guess goes. Mahendra Singh Rathore says something great. Thank you so much for your kind words. Pavan Sharma Says great to watch. Thank you. I think there must be some announcement by the arbiter going on in the physical location, and he must be telling them the rules and the regulations so that the game is still not started. It can start anytime soon. Well, my guess is e4 and then responded with e5 or c5. I will be excited to see a c5 game to start things off. So I don't have much insights about Mr. Anshul Potadia, but since he's a premier, it's very likely that he's a very strong player as well. I'm trying to find something about Mr. Anshul, but no luck. But definitely, since he's a premier, there's a reason for that, and he must be a strong player. And I think the matches have started. And I think I was totally wrong with my prediction. It is a game with d4 and f6 on game, and black follows with the knight f6 variation, already intending to play something uncompromising. And then Mr. Ishan goes for bishop f4, which is also known as the London system, one of the very solid openings. Black goes for e6, which is again, he's not committing himself and keeping things flexible, not putting his pawn on d5 yet, which he might do later, but can also change his plans for d6. So e3, the common London system move, he might plan on to. I think they can hear us, and that is some issue. They're trying to mute us. That would not be good if I give my analysis to the players. All right. Okay, and the camera is slightly tilted now, which makes it difficult for us to follow. Meanwhile, d5 is also played, and I think they start with knight d2, which is a smart idea in this variation. c5, c3 has been played, and then they decided to capture. Here, a good move is to capture with the e pawn. Uh, yeah, and he does that. And now we are in a typical Carlsberg structure. So the usual point is that white has this pawn structure, a very solid pawn structure, whereas black has this pawn structure. And the difference is that whites want to keep control on this e5 square, very firm control, and black can go for the minority attack, trying to attack these pawns and eventually create a weakness on c3 and then capitalize on it. Whereas white needs to attack. Sorry, I am back. So many arrows. And also, if it's hard for some people to understand, that's okay. I'm just trying to give you the common plans. Uh, let's remove all of these arrows and let's see how the game proceeded. I think they played bishop to e7, and then bishop d3 was played, castle, knight f3, and knight c6 was played. So yeah, I think they're thinking. And it's hard for us to follow the games now because the board has been shifted. Let's see what I can do. Hello. Hi, Mr. Ashok Choman. And I think we're back. And these things are inevitable. Problems will happen whenever we take new initiatives, and we only make mistakes when we try to do something new. And the camera is being adjusted by the uh, team there. And now I can guess that something like this must have happened. Let's say knight went to e5 and then they captured, which I don't think is a good move, because now this e5 pawn can turn out to be very strong. So basically, when this pawn reaches e5, the main point is that now this pawn can be a weakness in long run. But if they're not able to, if white is not able to attack the black king, then e5 can turn into a weakness eventually in the game. But here I don't think that is the case because white have all the pieces aimed towards the king. It can follow the game with queen f3, castle, and maybe some attacking possibilities. Also, the rook even comes in there. So this is what you don't want to do on in a Carlsbad. You don't want to capture. Sorry, so many arrows. Hmm. Let's see what happened. Yeah, they went back with the knight. And now white should castle and do not go too greedy, attacking all in attacking, because eventually the knight comes to c5 and d4 is a very strong move as well in those. But definitely at this point of time, I definitely love uh, white's position. Also, I think h4 is a very interesting possibility. Taking would be suicidal, although possible, but I don't think in a rapid game it would be a good idea to do so, and it might even be very bad as far as I can see. And the another thing is that with h4 we are threatening something like if a if a knight c4 like move comes, we can just maybe just go for it. And knight f3 with knight g5 coming in. It's already hard for them to defend. Although I'm not sure, but something like this could follow with the attack is still there. This would not help because of such moves. And the king is trapped. And rook e5 is the common way to do the defense, um, stopping the pawn from moving. But here also, I think something like this. This would. It's messy, but definitely bishop at 7 could be a possibility in that case. And I think that happened. So, if I'm not wrong, so I think there's some internet problem there. And thank you, Mr. Chandra Chaturvedi, a fellow player and a very good gentleman who also organizes CPS tournament and the team championship, and wonderful person. So, as I can see, I'm unable to see what White must have played. Um, let's try to guess. Let's do the guessing, and audience can help me with that. Um, so it was White's move, and all I see is that the knight has come here, and okay, knight to f3 was played, which I think is okay, but not so ambitious. But all right, that's another way to play, controlling the d4 square firmly, and White is still at least slightly better. But I would go on and say White has some advantage. Black has to be very careful against his king. Because since the e5 pawn is here, only f6 break would help you. But then some of your squares get weakened, and it's very difficult for black to deal with it, especially in a rapid game. Otherwise, if we objectively see, black is perfectly fine, I think. Um, good motivational line. Okay, thank you. Mm. And now we see both the players are playing on the queen side suddenly. Uh, I think they played a5 and then it was stopped with a4. So basically, my concern with a5 is that now the knight goes to b5 in some cases, and I don't want to go there, but eventually in long run it seems like a weakness to me, going to b5 and then d6 to follow. But again, I understand that they want to create something and stop b4 once and for all. But yeah, when in difficult positions, bad move follows. I would maybe try to play b6 here and claim that I have bishop a6 and then something like that. But then again, a5 is also not so bad. They have stopped it with a4, which is okay. This has been a very high level game so far with no big mistakes. And now black is taking his time. Or black has already developed his bishop, I guess. Oh, okay. They have played this move. And it's white who is now uh, thinking. If the camera was a little bit better, we could see the time and clock situation. And white finally castled. All right. And black goes for b4. Man, that's something very aggressive. But yeah, I think black has to create something to. So let's see b4. What can white do? An obvious move capturing would activate the bishop and also soften the d3 square in some cases. Rook e1 would be a move. And now I don't see any problem in white's position, to be honest. Maybe a timely knight d4. But somehow black's unconventional play has yielded into something decent. He's not worse or anything. So how should white respond here? If we don't take, they're taking it on the next turn. If we play b3, our c3 pawn is tremendously weak after the captures in queen c7 or followed by rook c8. So if we do this, then also I think the c3 pawn is a big target in the long run. Rook comes here. Even a4 pawn is a target. Targets everywhere. And as I said before, if your pawn is on e5, this is a big signal for you to attack the king. If you don't do that, eventually you end up with some weaknesses. Because the pawn which moved from d4 to e5 also has weakened the c5 square. And yeah, b5 is a good move by Mr. Anshul, I think. Yeah, this has been a very good game so far. Also, I did not see this b5 move coming, so and they decided to capture, which is understandable. And I think rook even would be played. I don't see anything else. Now I somehow like black's position because black has a very solid structure, and it's hard for them to it hard for them to bite to attack any of the. Sorry, I'm back. Audience, if they like, they can suggest some moves, and that would be tremendous. I know it can get pretty boring with me alone here. I think rook e1 was played and queen b3 followed, and it's perfectly. I can understand how black is playing. Black has taken over the initiative, and now is just going to play one of his rook to b8 or c8, and then target the b6, b3 pawn, and also can go bishop c4. Is somehow controlling all the squares on the queen side, whereas white could not capitalize on his king side advantage. The advantage in king side advantage in space. So yeah. If I was white here, I would be not very comfortable in this position. Any moves white will win. Not sure about that. Um, I see there are only 3 or 4 people watching. Sorry. Um, so if you have any suggestion for white or a plan, I would like to see that because I don't see any moves for good moves for white here. White is thinking. No, actually, white came back and pinned the knight. Okay. This is what I was thinking, rerouting some of your pieces to control the key squares on the queen side. Maybe knight d4 will follow. Trying to defend. Again, in the last position also, my temptation would be to go here and somehow try to, you know, be stubborn about the attack on the king. Also, I can be wrong on so many cases. So pardon me if something I'm saying is absolutely insane and does not make any sense. But here I think if they do bishop g5, we can just go for the Greek gift. And it would be interesting to calculate all of these lines. But I believe my intuition and I think it cannot be very bad for white. Although black can survive because we don't have many pieces here. So at least we can get exchange in some cases. Yeah, but then I see. Yeah, it's messy. So I would be more tempted to go there just to eliminate this bishop, which is controlling the square g5, and then I would just go on the king to keep attacking it. White is taking a lot of time in this game. Black has done a great job putting pressure on white player, which is Mr. Anshul with the black pieces and Ishan with the white pieces. And again, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the names wrong. So this would be an interesting option to put the bishop on d5, but also maybe f6 comes. And yeah, it's a pretty complex position. It will take some time to find a move. But bishop e3 is natural move. Queen b7 is again a decent move. And now white has to move, and he's faced with a difficult choice. Maybe knight d4 is one move, but then bishop c4 is something to consider. But now b3, no, he would not lose our piece. We would lose our piece. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Yeah, so bishop c4 runs into b3. Bishop c4 runs into b3, which I'm not sure if is a weakness or a strength for white. So I'm not sure if I would like to provoke b3. Maybe I would just go back with the bishop to d7. Yeah, knight d4 is a serious move here. White is still thinking. I'm afraid that his time's gonna run. Don't have a lot of time, and I think it's 25 plus um, 10 seconds increment or something. But it's commendable that being a doctor, they're still playing so well. This is the we're fortunate to have people so passionate for chess that even if it's their not main profession or priority, they're still having some uh, time to give for chess. And knight d4 has been played, and they're catching the moves. Now again, I think knight d4 is the only move which would uh, which would pose some problems to black. So this is basically, if you try to understand, this is fighting initiative with initiative. You're trying to constantly challenge black's plans. Otherwise, if you just sit and play something like something passive, like maybe h3 or some slow move, then they would just put the bishop to c for themselves, and then it would be hard for you to um, protect your position from there on because rook b8 follows. Also, in some cases, bishop c4 and knight b3 jumps in, and your squares are pretty loose, especially the light squares. If we somehow can get the bishop, the light squares bishop, then this position would be very bad for white, as far as I understand. Now let's see what black can do. Black only has one move, I think. Going here would, yeah, that's also a possibility. They can take a5, but then we can take b2 in return, and I might very well be missing some tactics here, but I don't see them yet. Many of the pieces are hanging, they're all overloaded. It seems to work out. And if we somehow can get the c3 pawn later, then this d5 pawn will give us a great long-term advantage. We would keep it as a protected pawn, exchange the pieces in favorable conditions, press, fight forever, and then in the end game, it would be a very pleasant end game to play. And it's disheartening that I don't see any comments. Also for the doctors who have produced such an amazing tournament and initiative to decide to live stream these games, which is a big thing. And I strongly believe that we should in Rajasthan should um, continue doing such live streams. It takes a lot of energy and time and preparation, but in the end of the day, the final product is just memorable. You can always see the live stream after years and cherish the memories. And also, it promotes chess in a huge way. So, big thank you for doing this, and I'm glad to be a part of this this live stream. Okay, Black's still thinking. I don't see a move. And see, you guys can see that the the camera quality is not up to date. The ports are not the best in the best possible alignment. But it's just the start, yeah. If we do these things one time, two time, a couple of time, maybe 10 times, then eventually we get it all right. So more important is to try such things than to get worried about the result. And knight goes back to d7, and I don't understand this move at all. What is the idea? And I think it's a bad move, but I'm not sure. At first look, it looks like a bad move. Because I can just now. I mean, it's not that black is bad or something, but it's just that white can just take the bishop now. Maybe the point is that after taking the bishop b2 and e4, both the pawns are hanging. Yeah, knight d7 is a bit passive. They just be a very a very strong young player from Jaipur, and also my dear student. Correct. Knight d7 is a bit passive, but I think the point is to take, and both of these pawns are hanging. But such timid moves do not worry me because they're not threatening anything. Maybe we can capture the bishop and go on for some active play. But where is our active play? Both of the pawns are hanging, and if b2 falls, then I'm not very. Uh, Maybe this just bishop c4 intermediate move, and yeah, it just pushes black away. Now f4. Yeah, so this is a key move here, bishop a4. I think if we insist on to capture the bishop, take the bishop pair, bishop a4 would be a very important move to play, and it's very easy to miss such moves. And now I can go f4, or if I want to be a bit solid, I can even go bishop d4. F4, I'm not very comfortable with f4, to be honest, because f4 knight c5 and yeah, it's still a very rich position. Maybe I can go here. They can come here still, and I don't want to give up this bishop. Otherwise, it's just a very bad bishop versus a good bishop, and my b2 pawn is hanging. So very rich game by the players. High quality game. So I'm sure that he's thinking if he can capture the bishop or not. Um, but if you don't want to capture, you can just play something else also, like f4 right away. And it does not help black's case. The players are Aman. So Aman Balana is a good player from Sriganganagar, where chess is uh, not so much in highlight as other sports are. But Definitely, Aman can be the torch bearer for Sri Lanka. Also asking that who the players are. So the players are Mr. Eshan Rijwani and Anshul Potadia, who are both strong players because they are the premier for their teams. So I'm pretty sure they're strong players, and so far they have uh, played strongly. So thank you, Nightfoot Chess, one of the best academies in Rajasthan, led by Mr. Vikram Mukhicha. Also having a great YouTube channel. Hmm. I feel like I'm in a very tough spot to commentate on such a high level game because it is actually very rich positionally, and even I'm getting some hard time understanding if black is doing the right things or not. Where 97 definitely does not seem like a right move. I think bishop a4 would be a key move here, so that we force the queen to go back, defending the knight, and then we can think about other things later. But as I said, now again the knight comes to c5, and somehow this weird knight d7 c5 still troubling us. And white could never really get his kingside play going. And as I see, they have captured, and I think bishop a4 would follow. And I would be really shocked if bishop a4 followed because it's a strong move, probably the only move. I'm very tempted to check the engine evaluation of this position, but you guys tell me, should I look at the engine evaluation or should we keep it human? Also, please suggest me some moves, guys. I'm feeling all alone here. Yeah, bishop a4 followed. We're calling the game here. Okay, I see there are 7 of you watching, so we can do a quick poll that who thinks who is better, black or white? Ah, they just took the knight, but now it's just bad because we have a very bad bishop and they have a good bishop. No, sir, no engine evaluation. Okay, so we'll keep it human. I think white is clearly worse now because maybe he can say that this a5 pawn is a weakness, which I understand, but that's the only thing working in their favor. His queen a4 is a good move. I missed it, I must say. But in the long run, these pawns are weak. Let's say I go on and just play this move and try to attack your b2 pawn, and in some dream case, you get my b2 pawn, and I get your a5 pawn. White is still struggling here. One good move would be to play g5 if I'm not blundering anything. And now it's just very, very, very uncomfortable for white to keep playing this. Unless and until they can just exchange the pawns, which I don't think they can. Yeah, they cannot. So this would be a very bad endgame to face if this happen. Yeah, now black is in a deep thought. Their players are also managing their time. Is it a mate? Did I miss something? Ah, it's a mate. G5. Okay, so yeah, then this whole variation fails. Rook B1 is a mate. So they cannot take. But in just let's say they both played some moves. And now we came back to this. I was trying to tell the idea. So if it's not a mate now, even then it's a very bad end game for white. I just missed the mate, but the whole point was to tell you the difference between the bishop's quality. Now these two pawns are of the same color of the bishop, and these pawns never are target and never any hindrance in for our bishop. And I would exchange the queens, but of course it would take some time to assess the position. I'm not sure if I would like to keep it or not. But they decided to just move the queen away to b7. Okay. Tejas, you're very sharp, yeah? Embarrassing me with a backering checkmate on the live stream. Okay. Who do you prefer here? Aman, Tejasvi, and yeah. You guys can call Arun, Siddhant, everyone, yeah? All the party here. If nobody watches, we guys can at least discuss the games. Just like our class. Players are thinking maybe white needs to protect the b2 pawn now. It might be a good decision to keep the queens on, but I would, if I'm very clear that I'm not going to lose the a5 pawn and would get the b4 pawn, then I would definitely go for it. But yeah, maybe they're not getting the b2 pawn for the a5 pawn. A5 pawn might remain weakness without getting b2 pawn killed. So that might be their concern. And now, yeah. And we see if white would have followed their plan to attack, they would not be in such a defensive position. But I think they, throughout the game, never realized that they have to attack king side. And now, yeah, they have to sit passive. Wow. So, what am I missing? First of all, maybe taking the b2 pawn would trap the queen somehow, which I am not seeing right now. But I trust them. But let's just see how is the queen getting trapped. And he did not take it. Hmm. Why did they not take the pawn? They played rook c8. So meanwhile, they make their move. We can just let's make the elimination. Um, let's see why can't we take the pawn on b2? Is there something I'm missing? Rook even we always have queen to d2. Maybe it's just too active for white, and that's what they did not want to do. And of course, we don't want to give any activity. So first putting the rook on a good place. Perfect move, yeah. Amazing. One guy's giving their pawn for initiative, the other one's not taking. This is some high level chess right there. I'm amused by the quality of game. Maybe now one plan is to might look very passive, but rook a2 and the other rook to e1 and just gang up of the a5 pawn, because that's the only weakness black has. So once the a5 pawn falls, white can even claim for advantage. And one way would be to put triple on the a file and then play b4, which would be a dream because the rook is also coming to c4. White's thinking. But guys, you can clearly see, right, the quality of the bishops. This bishop versus this bishop. This bishop versus this bishop. Clearly, it's not both of them are worth 3 points. Like the way we're taught when we're young, the bishops are 3 point, but here I don't think so. And I think they played h3 again, insisting on taking, asking them to take the pawn. They played rook c4, infiltrating, and now it's more or less game a4. Yeah. And it's hard for me to believe it if it's not bad for them. A4 is a very important move. If he plays a4, I would not believe it. Yeah, he did not play. A4 is just too hard to, like, it's not hard or anything, but it's just very good move. And if you play all the best moves, you're a doctor or a chess player or a chess professional. Although they've been playing some amazing moves so far. I'm just curious to see if A4, A5 was the best, A4 was the best move. I'm pretty sure it should be the best move. Yeah, A4 is one of the best moves. but it is not coming up now. Rook c8 is the best move. Wow. So their moves are even stronger than my positional idea. But it's hard to believe. Yeah. Maybe they're just threatening the bishop and they can do a5 later also. But my whole point with a5 was to just clamp down the b2 pawn forever, and we can go queen to b5 and then just insist on protecting this pawn as firmly as we can, and later we can just double our rook, maybe make a escape square for the king, and that is a pleasant advantage and it would be forever. Rook a4 played. Yeah, rook a4 has been played, but yeah, but I would like to just keep some spend some moments on this position because it's just dream position for black. I don't know how computers would defend it, but 1 second. Yeah, but I would just put my queen on b5, put my rook on b7, maybe make a escape square, and then maybe one day I can take the b2 pawn and then do a3 breaks where when the position is right. But regardless, they played rook c8, which is indeed a very strong move as well. And rook a4 followed, the queen came to b5, and now I think the same position would come after exchanging the rooks, because exchanging the rook is pretty much forced. Since you're losing the bishop, if you go back with the rook, and if you take this, then the rook comes, and again the a4 move is begging to be played, just clamping down the b2 pawn, and it's just a very sad position for white. Honestly, I did not sign up for such high level technical game. Honestly, I thought there would be some fireworks, some attacking possibilities, some blunders from both the sides, but this is just too good. A very high quality game by both the players. Wow. Yeah. Rooks. Okay, they played something else, or what happened? Ah, they brought the other rook here. Okay. I don't think it's okay. Exchanging the rooks and control keeping the. Now I would not exchange another pair of rook, because yeah, I took with the queen. So here black should be careful in exchanging the other pair of rook, because yeah, and now the a5 pawn is falling. So something has gone wrong for white, for black. Extending the rook is a bad idea here because sometimes there are fortresses. Although I'm not sure about this position, but then even in case of a bad bishop, you can sit tight and do the passive defense. Whereas when there is a rook, there are a lot of possibilities to create a second weakness and then go around it forever unless and until white breaks down. But now the tables have turned. He played rook a1. What do you think, guys? What's going on? How do we protect the a5 pawn now? That's why I was insisting on a4 before, because a4 is just a very strong square. Was just a very strong square for white. Hmm. Yeah, rooks are exchanged, and Is my camera stuck? And now how do we save the pawn on a5? Yeah, bishop d8. Okay, and now b4 has been played. B4 is a b4 is a bad move. Let me check if the flash chain is working well. Oh, it's perfect. Is Lalit Rohit Lalit? That's a difficult question. Ah, you're saying Rohit Lalit Babu? No, he's not. Not him. So let's see how the game progressed. I think b4 is a bad move because a5 is a weakness. You don't want to exchange it, but to attack it forever. And maybe if I was white, I would just be very happy and bring my king somewhere and just keep it as a target forever. But I think what happened is rook came to c4. Uh, of course, there's this tactical reason also, but even without that, it was not a good idea. And I'm struggling to see what happened after that. Maybe bishop came to c4, and now the rook is. I think he's taking the pawn. It's working well. Thank you. What do you think about this end game? Now that we have, yeah, now we will see an endless grind where black will play forever, and I think just takes. I don't know what he's waiting for. Oh, maybe the bishop's hanging. Okay, so we can't take yet. It's very tactical. Hmm. And if we can't take, then it can be bad for black as well. Wow. So how do we go from here? We can start pushing our own pawn. Is that an idea? Takes push, push. Um, One bad thing about Black's position is that he does not have his back rank open, and yeah, okay, they just how many back ranks would you do to me in a single game? You get it? Ah, he pinned it again. Wow, these guys are finding very difficult moves. But again, the pawn is not takeable, if that's a word. Rook g5 takes the bishop. I come up, and I don't think these two pawns would suffice for a bishop. So, wow, it's an interesting game. How should I progress? Okay, I don't understand what went. Yeah, okay, this happened, this happened. So I think including these two moves, rook to c4 and rook to a1 is not at all helping for black. They could just go straight away. I think no one was stopping them from queening in that variation. And now I can't see the board, and players are blitzing out. I think they're in time trouble. We'll have to guess the moves once we can see the board. No luck seeing the board. I can see some piece on a7 and a pawn on d3 still, rook on. Okay, so they have given up the bishop and now it's black's move. Okay, and why can't this black push the the back rank mate? Right, and I think white's winning this roller coaster game now. Or is he? Oh, it's still not clear because d2 is coming and rook c1 check is coming. So maybe a good idea would be to go. Wow, but now rook c2. Takes and bishop a3, and that's it. Now and now it's over. Amazing game by both the players. I think black was in driver's seat throughout the game, but it was just too unlucky. So I don't think we have to see this game anymore. But I can point out a very instructive moment. Few moves back, if my board stopped getting stuck. Yeah. So here, I think that if you are going to play this move, why not just go right away doing this? Yeah. And here you at least have a. Okay, I think it does not matter because yeah, it does not really matter because the rook is anyway going to get sacrificed on a7. It's just your rook would be on c3. So maybe it did not matter much. Let's see what could have been done instead of that. So let's go d4. They take um we push. They go there. We go. We don't have to go there yet. Can't we just push our pawn as well? Yeah, this would have been a difference in the position. And now they have to go there, but they're still willing to the check-in. So this was a key point. So I think the whole blunder was to introduce this move again, and now the rook is on a1, and this makes a huge difference. That the rook is at least protecting the pawn on d1. So that for that reason. They're still playing, but I don't think there's anything to follow anymore because one of the player is just a bishop down and a pawn down. I think here good move was to play d4. I think rook c4 is just a blunder. Yeah. Now rook a1 and then d4. Still, oh, there was d2. Wow, they missed d2 also. Engines being engine, they just there was no need to give up your bishop with this. Maybe just d2 and they're not in time to promote. You can just give a check, promote with a check, go and block the promoting square, and if they go up, you're not only killing the rook but also stopping the pawn from promoting. So that would have been a win for black, but it's just that maybe in time pressure they could not keep up and eventually lost, got lost. Board is stuck. Is it? My board is stuck on the live stream. Okay. I'll do something about it. Wait. Um. Okay. Just 1 second. I'm trying to get this thing fixed, and then we can look at what happened and why did Black lose a game where he was in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they are playing a tournament, Aman, and they're playing a tournament which is Doctors Chess League. So yeah. Okay, so we are back. So let me show you what happened and what was the bad move here. I hope you guys can see the screen now. So this all happened, and the key move was here to just start pushing. If you insist on to push the pawns, then why not just keep pushing the pawns right away? And now once they do this, you don't have to stop it with bishop b6. You can just keep pushing your pawn. And the whole difference is that now uh, it promotes with a check. And yeah, and another point was that once they did this, once they played rook c4, now they're putting their rook on a better place, and just then doing the same thing was not a good idea. But here also, after bishop d6 was a blunder, just d2 wins the game. So these were the two misses for black, but it's okay in time trouble. Such things happen even if you're winning. I've been there, you have been there, we've all been there. Even once we are winning on the board, if we're low on time, bad things can happen, and that's why time is also a critical part of the game in rapid and blitz chess. So I think that was a great game by Mr. Ishan and Anshul, and in the end white prevailed, but black definitely was controlling it throughout the game, although white found some very nice resource to win the game and kept his calm and cool under the time pressure. So I think that would be it for the round one. I will see you back in round two, and yeah, see you back in round two. Hopefully more people will join, or even if they don't, uh, I'll have fun sharing my thoughts with you all guys. Okay, we can end the stream now.